What's up, guys? It's your boy Mad Max back at it with a great another what if. This is a what if about naofumi, and this is like my first naofumi shield hero what if. So please don't judge me if I get some things wrong, and if I start stuttering, just please just skip it somewhat, because there's a lot of things I went through when I lost a family member later this year. So yeah, um, and this is part one of what if naofumi was Iron Man. So we have a young man, Naofumi. Naofumi works for a man named Mr. Stark. Mr. Stark basically figured out a way to leap from dimension to dimension, and he found a dimension where there's a place called Star City, and this is somewhat where the Flash is. So yeah, Tony goes there and he takes some of the Speed Force and he basically contains it inside of a high-tech jar, and he asks not for me to basically um hold still. And Nafumi says, okay, Mr. Stark, and due to Nafumi being 16, he basically says, okay, Mr. Stark, and Tony brings out a gift. And this was Nafumi's 16th birthday gift. Because, let's say that Tony hired him when, like, Nafumi was, like, 13 because his parents abandoned Nafumi. So Tony took ahead and Tony went ahead and adopted Nafumi. So yeah, why not? So this is his 16th birthday present, and it is a watch that Tony and Jarvis made with an AI inside of it, and it basically has some Asgardian steel inside of it. Due to it having Asgardian steel, it's sort of goldish, and it's very expensive due to Thor being the king and everything. So yeah. So as he was giving Nafumi the gift, a big ass portal opened up, and Tony was literally Tony told one of his suits, who had an arm on it, to basically go with Nafumi, because he knows that tech is very advanced to the point where it basically broke time and space to literally make it due to it being godly and having godly metal in it. So yeah, this is where the cannons start. So Nafumi lands in front of the king and the bitch. The king and the redheaded bitch. Yeah, sorry about the word. Lands in front of the king and the redheaded devil bitch. And he's one like, where am I? And the king tells the guards to go and take Nafumi. And he basically is struggling, like, why am I here and who are you people? And the king says, don't worry about that. But yeah, you're the shield devil and we need to kill you. We need to banish you out of this kingdom. And he basically understands due to Tony telling a story similar to this, of a man who got banished to a different world, and that world hated him because of a power that they didn't understand. So yeah, Nafumi is kicked out of the kingdom for some weird reason, and Nafumi sees like the metal arm, and he sees a shield. Like, did Mr. Stark give me this? And he sees a shield, and like, oh crap, what happened here? And the shield, basically, since the kingdom had a magic power that basically kept the heroes' magical items safe there. And look, I don't want to hear no shit saying like, but look, Nafumi is special, and like in the canon, yeah. No. He's the next Iron Man of this world. So yeah, not for me. Like since he left the kingdom, and since the kingdom had a magical power to the point where if the heroes stay there long enough, their magical gear starts getting stronger and staying and not breaking for a long time. So yeah, not for me. He like the whole thing breaks except for the emerald due to the emerald being a living thing. So the emerald, so scratch that. Not for me grabs the emerald and he holds it close to his chest. As he's doing that, the tech and emerald sort of merge together, creating a blue white light, like a bluish white light. And not for me is one like what happened. And he sees that watch that Mr. Stark gave him and that arm that came with him. It basically merged with the emerald and it basically made an arc reactor. And due to the arm being connected with scratch that. I'm not gonna say it was connected to Jarvis and Jarvis accidentally came into the world with not for me, so no. They made a little AI inside of the watch. So yeah, it made a little arc reactor mixed with the emerald, an arc emerald. And that's what not for me called it for like years now going on. He called it the arc emerald. So, the slave trader, nah, he did. The slave said, fuck it. We gonna kill this nigga right here and leave. So the slave trader dead. Some of the slaves, they sort of are older and they're more stronger. And there's this one girl in particular, a beastman. A beastman who sort of is able to hide her features of being a beastman. So yeah. Now back to Naofumi. As he's still in pain, he's walking and he sees this girl on the ground being beaten up by some guys, like thugs. Those were some thugs who needed some slaves to do some dirty work for them. So Naofumi basically fuck that, and he goes over there and he beats the hell out of them, leaving them both to be bloody and pummeled. Naofumi goes over there and sees the girl and he says, "Hey, are you okay, kid?" And the girl says, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. Just I need to rest a little bit." Naofumi says, "Okay," but as he's saying that, the girl goes to sleep. Naofumi picks her up, and as he's walking, he spots a cave. And as he goes inside the cave, a bear comes out. This bear has somewhat an emerald inside of it, and due to the shield being an upgraded version, due to the emerald being upgraded because of tech, the emerald send out the weird thing, like weird signal to the bear, and the bear basically transformed. It transformed into like a robot, like a sort of golem bear mixture with magic and tech. So yeah, it's sort of like a golem, and it basically walks up to Naofumi and it rips out its own magical stone, and it basically goes up to Naofumi and places it at where the Arc Emerald is at, and it fuses with the Arc Emerald. And Naofumi goes and he looks up and he sees the whole bulletin and he sees a weird icon saying you have new gear, and he goes over there and he looks at it and it's sort of like the bear's, like the emerald bear attributes, because since the emerald sent out a weird signal and the bear had magic, and now that it had tech in it, it sort of may have gained a power and sort of an attribute. So yeah, why not? And it basically lists off all the armor and strength and magic you can use of the bear. And there's one weakness, literal sound. I'm kidding. Not sound, but like something that I'm probably gonna invent later on inside the what if. So yeah. And he sees an armor. He sees the armor, this armor right here. But it is grizzly formed. So yeah, why not? Naofumi basically just dusts that off and he takes the girl inside of the cave. And the girl is sleeping because Naofumi he uses smarts and he's camping. I and he uses camping learning when he went camping with Tony, Peter, and Tony's wife and daughter. So he learned a lot. And now that Naofumi made a fire and made some wool due to basically killing a few, how do you say it, wolves. And these wolves were just some old wolves, ordinary wolves at that. So yeah, he makes like a cover from the wolf hide and he makes a pillow too. And as he made the fire, he basically sort of thinks like, if that's sort of like the somewhat armor that Mr. Stark made when he was in a cave, couldn't I make an armor like that? And he goes outside and he searches for like a ore, like a living ore, because he used the magic that he gained from the bear. It's called Hunt. The bear was able to hunt for fish, and due to Nafumi having the arc reactor and the emerald, he is able to literally hunt for ore, magical signatures. So he finds the ore, but he sort of remembers, I don't have a forge to make it. And as he said that, a big, like, how do you say, a big boulder falls down. And this boulder is sort of a magical boulder. This boulder is the opposite of the one that the other heroes have. This one creates. But Nafumi says, no, I don't need it. I'm gonna do this the old fashioned way. Because he heard of RPGs and everything and watched a little somewhat anime. So yeah, Nafumi says, nah, I don't need this power, not yet. So he basically stores that somewhere and he leaves it there. Not knowing that it's sort of a guardian stone and it's living. So he says, nah, I don't need it. So he finds some more magic ore and he goes back to the cave and he basically makes like a forge, forge. He goes back and goes to the forge and he, how do you say it, he makes somewhat of an armor, but yeah, he sort of used, like, he sort of found that rock again and he took off a piece of it and he placed it inside of the armor and the armor came to life. Not the armor, but like the armor basically gained power. And so Nafumi basically thought, since Mr. Stark had like a laboratory inside the cave, wouldn't I be able to create like a whole kingdom inside of a cave? So he creates a whole armor because it's sort of been 3 days. The girl wakes up, goes out, gets some food, brings it back, gives it to Nafumi to cook it, and like they do this for like 3 days. And the final day, Nafumi decides, he says, screw it, I'm gonna build this. Nafumi goes and he, hold on, I'm so good. Naofumi goes and he finds like a weird little hole in a cave, and he basically looked up again, and he saw some attributes now due to him having the armor and the bear power. He sees attributes of basically digging and a new technique called bear beams. Bear beams are like, think of unibeams, but as like the claws are unibeams, like a heightened smaller version of a unibeam. So yeah, he chooses that, and he goes in digging, and he digs out a whole good level, and he makes another level up under it, and he has supports and everything up under that, and he keeps on digging and making it bigger and bigger to the point it's sort of like Stark's lab. So yeah, he goes and he goes down there, and he walks back up and he looks at everything and says, good. And he sort of thinks like, how am I gonna bring down the thing, the big boulder that has that much power? And that boulder, let's say there's an Asgard in here, but it's not called Asgard, but like it's called Osgard. Osgard is basically a strong race of demi-humans. That is a mixture of human, beastman, demon, dragon, and so much other things. They're powerful, but they really don't need that much power. So they decide to give a person power once they sort of get stronger. And due to Naofumi being strong and smart at the same time, they chose him. And they basically rolled that boulder down on him. So now back to Naofumi. He basically he basically goes and he gets the boulder and he rolls it all the way down to where the lab is. He rolls it all the way down to where the lab is, and he rolls into like a weird sphere mount that he created. And as he is doing that, he sort of remembers what what Stark used to build his lab with. And he sort of goes and he blinks his eyes twice, and he sees a creation um magic power, and he basically built like copper. He built like the lab that Tony had, like a stone version of that. So yeah, it's powered by tech too. So yeah, he's sort of smart, and he builds like a bed at the bottom for him and the girl, and him and the girl are both the same age, 16. So yeah, and he knows that she's a beastman, and he doesn't really give a damn. So Naofumi, the girl, they chill inside the cave, right? And Naofumi basically is sort of cooking food because he caught some chickens, boar, and a and another bear and a wolf. And he took the wolf cub and he sort of decided, if that bear had that power, I could probably give this to the little wolf cub. And he basically finds another piece of the rock. But this rock is basically built for wolves due to adventurer finding it and killing the wolf, right? Due to him killing the wolf, and he doesn't know where that stone is, so he's like, I don't need it, and he leaves. So Naofumi takes it and he places it at the wolf's stomach. It basically creates an emerald red color, and the wolf cub has red eyes, pure red eyes, and black, white, and gray fur. And as Naofumi goes and touches the wolf sort of doesn't hit like the wolf doesn't hesitate. So yeah, the wolf basically goes up under his command due to him having the stronger will, and he raised it a little bit. So he takes the wolf cub back to the cave, and he basically just let it be like a house pet to him. And he and the girl, I'm gonna need y'all to give me a name for the girl because I'm really not gonna call her the girl. So yeah, Nafumi and the girl and the wolf, they're chilling inside their rooms. And Nafumi sort of gave the girl a pelt. It was a pelt made from wolf's fur and like a, how do you say it? Like a sort of necklace that had the Stark logo on it. So the girl didn't know why, but like she really didn't give a damn. So yeah, Nafumi heard something. He heard a little. He heard like a, not a snake, but like some people coming inside the cave because they were seeking shelter and it was raining. He goes up there and he takes off all the luxurious stuff and he seals back up the cave, like the entrance to the downstairs area. And he goes to the he goes into the back with tattered clothes and everything. And he basically rubs some dirt on him that he purified some of, and he rubs it on him, and he sits there like he was an old adventurer. So he pretends, and he sees the people who are walking by. This is the redhead devil and the spear hero. And he looks at him saying, "Who are you?" And they see him like, "Oh, we're here to find shelter. Can you help us?" And Nafumi says, "Yeah." And he basically takes him all the way into the back where he slaughters the food that he cooks. So he takes him all the way in the back, and he sort of, how do you say it? He kills the guards with them, and he sort of knocks out the princess and the spear hero, and he takes the spear hero's weapon. He sees the emerald, and he sort of clicks a button, and a hole opens up, and that hole leads to the big emerald. And that emerald basically has gotten smarter over time due to technology and magic, and to not for me feeding it literal magic crystals all the time so it can get stronger and protect him and the girl. So yeah, Nafumi takes a spear and he does that. And that little emerald that was sent down there to the crystal, it basically is gone. It's gone for good. Gone. And he ties up the princess and the spear hero. Now, okay, I know that's sort of long, but like I gotta do this because I know y'all might not like it. So Nafumi takes the princess and the spear hero, ties them up, and he cuts the princess, and he sees something on her. It was a, how do you say it? It was a dagger that has enchanted runes on it by a witch. And he remembers Tony telling him stories of witches and gods from Asgard. So he sort of takes it and he throws it down there into the emerald, and the emerald analyzes it, and it keeps on analyzing it. Naofumi says, "I only need you for your emerald, and you, princess, you will be up under my control." And he basically um takes out a little sword and he cuts her in the gut, killing her and the spear hero, killing the spear hero and the princess. So yeah, Naofumi basically calls out the wolf, and the wolf it's sort of like a type of wolf. It needs blood, and if the person has magic, the wolf gains some of the magic and gaining some of the power in doing so. So yeah, Naofumi is living the life. He's sort of living it. So Naofumi at this point in time is at the lab area, and like the crystal basically shows a weird ruin, and it basically means thunder. And as he sees that, a weird thunderbolt basically appears out of nowhere, and this thunderbolt is a living lightning. And Naofumi is confused, like, what is this? And as he goes and he goes up and pulls up a little weapon that he used to kill beasts that had some magic. And he basically pulls it out, and like the lightning hits it, and it absorbs, and like the weapon absorbs the lightning, and in doing so, turning the weapon into a magical creature. And since the girl is downstairs, she runs up to the metal lab and sees the creature. And the creature lunges at her, but nothing stops it. And in doing so, he basically gets shot in the heart with the emerald, and the emerald is glowing. And since the girl runs over, and Naofumi accidentally gave her and put her in a spell, to the point where she's sort of to the point where she knows of where Naofumi came from. And Naofumi is scared because, like, is she gonna leave me? Is she gonna hate me? So he said, "Are you okay?" She says, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." Wait, where's the big city at? And where are those vehicles? And where is that flying thing? And Naofumi's like, "Oh shit, she knows too much." So he basically sits her down, saying like, "Oh, that's where I'm from. I was summoned here from that world." So yeah, he explains everything about the world and how there are beastmen, but they are in a different world. So yeah, at this point in time, Naofumi is sort of scared because he captured the electric beast and he put it inside of the crystal, and in doing so, it turned the crystal red, a red color. The crystal is sort of analyzing the lightning to the point where it only brings up a trace of a heat signature and a heartbeat. And Naofumi is scared, like, fuck. Should I kill the creature? Or should I merge it with the wolf? And he sees the wolf, and the wolf basically knows what's going on, and the wolf nods. Yeah, you should probably do that because I'm getting a little weaker, and I do not need to be weak. So Naofumi touches touches the orb in a weird place, and not and like that way I'm trying to make it sound sexual, so no. He touches it in like the place where he gets stuff out of it. And he sees a lightning creature, and he walks over to the wolf, and the wolf basically is on his belly. Is sort of on his belly. And Naofumi basically puts the creature right up to the emerald of the wolf, and the emerald absorbs it, and in doing so, turn the wolf into like a weird color. It basically has like somewhat of a robotic bark and sort of a robotic eye and an electric tail too. And it has sort of small clouds going around it. So yeah. Now for me, it's like, oh shit. The wolf is still under Naofumi's control due to him being raised by Naofumi and the girl. So yeah. And this is where I'm gonna leave it off at. So see ya.